Without using a calculator, find the exact value of sine of 150 degrees, and then for B is that one. The work example in your textbooks does not have sufficient working, so you have to do it in the following way. I'm going to start with the sine of 150 degrees, they say without the use of a calculator, and exact value. So that's already a clue that I'm going to work with my special triangles. Whenever you use a special triangle, you have to draw the special triangle to show that you have not used the calculator. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm quickly going to draw my cast diagram. Always a cast diagram. 0, 180, 360. The sine of 150 is in my second quadrant because it's less than 180, which means the acute angle, my reference angle, will be that one. So this will be 150. So how big is this angle? How can I get there going from my x-axis? I can say this is the same as the sine of, and I'm going to write this in terms of a small angle or the acute angle. So it's going to be 150 is going to be 180 minus something, and that will mean take away 30 degrees. So I know that this angle is 30 degrees. I then say cast. I'm working for my x-axis, so sine of my acute angle is 30. All I need to worry about is the sine. In my second quadrant, sine is positive, so the sine of 150 is exactly the same as the sine of 30. I have now sine of 30, which I can use my special triangle. 30, 60, 1, 2, square root 3. So if I say sine of 30, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, which equals a half. So your answer is a half. You have to have all of this to get full marks. Please take note. The B question, the only difference is I work in radians, not in degrees. Cos 5 pi over 4. First thing, cast diagram. Cast diagram, so I'm going to say cast. I say cos of 5 pi. If I'm in pi, this is 0, this is pi, and this is 2 pi. Okay. Remember what we said? We said if the golden hint here is if I have a fraction, I'm going to write pi as something to this base or to this thing. So pi will be 4 pi over 4. 4 pi over 4 is 1 pi. And 2 pi will be 8 pi over 4. But let's not worry about that now. Oh, we have to. This is 8 pi over 4, which is the same as 2 pi. Cos is positive. Where's cos positive? My first quadrant and my fourth quadrant. Okay. Oh, it's not, sorry. My bad. Not worrying about that. Cos of 5 pi over 4 is not there either. The cos of 5 pi is just past 4 pi. So if this is 5 pi over 4, then 5 pi over 4 will be in my third quadrant. So I can rewrite this in terms of this acute angle. I can say the cos of 5 pi over 4 is the same as the cos of 4 pi over 4, which is pi. So 4 pi over 4 plus 1 pi over 4 will give me 5 pi over 4. So it will be pi plus pi over 4. So 5 pi over 4 is pi plus pi over 4. Now I have an acute angle. Cast is in my third quadrant, cos is negative. I'm working from my x-axis, so cos stays cos of my acute angle pi over 4. This is now a special triangle, pi over 4. I draw my pi over 4. 1 square root 2, which means minus. The cos of pi over 4 is 1 over square root 2. And that is your answer.